Thank you, President Johnson and trustees and members of the community who have joined us. Our focus this evening is to update on several topics of interest and most importantly, to preview again, the 21-22 school year. We know, as we could hear in public commentary, that there are a lot of questions. Our learning continues in Ann Arbor Public Schools during the spring of 2021. Trustees, just a few photos, Lakewood students creating a Lego bird feeders and houses. The Hazley staff debuted a shirt this week that I thought was very representative of spring 2021. If you can't see on the shirt, it says "one paw at a time." They are the Hazley Huskies, so you can connect with what that means. Carpenter, fourth grader there with a great message, level up. We are seeing our roomies and Zoomies together. Our teachers are doing fabulous. Teacher support staff and leaders are doing fabulous work and working hard every day to serve our students. Trustees, I wanted to wrap back with an update on our spring bond phase 1 community engagement process. Just a reminder that Mr. Lautsana and members of our team completed work with the environmental organizations back in February, and then in March, we're with the Contractors Association. And trustees, I don't believe I've sent these dates to you, but Amy, Ms. Osinski and I will get them to you tomorrow. The second chapter of our community engagement tour involves quite a large number of community groups. And I appreciate Mr. Lautsana, Ms. Minnick, Mr. Cluley, and Ms. Margolis, who have put together a tour that will really share the phase 1 bond plan, as well as collect and respond to questions live in the virtual sessions, and then also collect thought exchange, feedback, and input on the phase 1 bond plan. And you can see there, trustees, service organizations, business, parent teacher. We have 2 general public meetings coming up. And then also our community organizations, quite a few of those as well. So we're very excited to be seeing many, many members of our community and also to re-engage with our Blue Ribbon. This was just a really great piece from Ann Arbor Open. They have a student competition to design their yearbook covers, and I thought you would particularly appreciate the impact of the virtual year on the student submitted designs. And then on the right, Project Lead the Way teachers are training engineers in Wi-Fi. We are the only district in the country that serves Project Lead the Way to our Young 5 classrooms, our preschool classrooms. And you can see here that the students were engineers in training, and they are designing birds' nests. And that's what it is that you're looking at. They studied the bird habitat and all of the characteristics that should go in there. And if you look closely, those are very creatively designed birds' nests. I was especially delighted this past weekend. I don't know if you saw it on social media, but we had just a great turnout. Reckoned soccer trustees. This is a cult in the Ann Arbor community, obviously, a very big following, but 150 K-5 Reckoned soccer teams and 15 middle school soccer teams. They also have field hockey going with 31 teams from 3rd through 8th grade in field hockey. They had a rainy first day to start their season, but that's okay. They were outdoors and it all worked out fine. Trustees, we've offered 2 separate briefings at the board table. We have shared in in our weekly update over many weeks the link to summer programming. And last Thursday night, I appreciate 40 some members of the community who joined us live. And then we've had several who have accessed the session on demand later. It is still on our website if you'd like to view that information session. We are offering summer learning, special education programming, elementary, middle, and high school programs, virtual and in-school learning opportunities, as well as A2 virtual opportunities. And most all of that programming is free to our students and families in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. We offered this kind of program last summer, had more than 5,000 students registered. It is the largest summer program in Southeast Michigan of any school district. We are offering this year, this summer. We already have plans on tap for offering an even bigger program next summer. We are not planning these programs based on particular whims of the legislature. This is the work that our board and our district prioritizes because we know our children need this extra support. I will point out that our summer camp, it is a full summer between June 14th and August 27th. High school volunteers can apply now. We normally have many volunteers from among our high school students. They will be offering both in-person, indoors, and outdoor classes in Rec and Ed. Wildly successful. Get on and sign up now. Those classes are filling up quickly. I think the best news of the week for so many of us is the announcement that vaccines, Pfizer will now be available for 12 to 15-year-olds. Trustees, I will share more a little in just a couple of minutes, but we are very grateful that Washtenaw County Health Department is leveraging the vaccine clinics that were already on the calendar for 16 and above, and they are adding significant numbers of appointments for our 12 to 15-year-olds. So our next clinic coming up on May 20th, trustees, a reminder that is the second dose for our 16 and above who came, 10 days ago or so. They are adding, it sounds like 300 or so of the 12 to 15-year-old appointments. I was delighted to be at Ann Arbor Open in a classroom last week and have those seventh graders tell me how excited they had their appointments and they're already excited to go and get their vaccine. We are looking forward to beginning on August 30th of 2021. We have had some inquiries about that date. And I do want to clarify that our calendar team, and that's a great team of employee group partners and members of our team, they nestled this 21-22 school year in between June 10th and back that up with the breaks that our families anticipate and expect. And that backed us right up to August 30th. That is a 4-day school week, trustees. So every family in Ann Arbor Public Schools will have that 4-day Labor Day weekend. They will have the opportunity to get into our schools and get settled into a routine, a full time routine of school, and then have that Labor Day weekend to follow. Our full calendar for the school year will be published over the coming days. The team is just putting the final touches on that now. So many of our commenters asked this evening. We will be sharing more information day by day and week by week. We are collecting input and feedback from our staff, from our students and parents, so that we're designing a 21-22 school year to meet the needs as well as we possibly can to meet the needs of our school district. This means we will be 5 days per week, a return to in-school learning, our quality teachers and staff, academic programs, world languages, performing and visual arts, sciences, all of it fully open. Our early childhood through 12th grade programs. We'll talk about more specifics to that in just a second, but I do want to point out right at the outset, and trustees, I may repeat it 2 or 3 times because it bears repeating. I've included it in several weekly updates, and I know that folks are busy, but I just want to wave the flag. There is no hybrid instruction that is any part of our programming for the fall of 21-22 school year. No hybrid program for next year's offerings. Students and families will continue to have the virtual option available. That will continue throughout the 21-22 school year. So when we say a full opening, sometimes folks say, well, would you share more about what you mean by a full opening? Go ahead, please. What we mean is that we are returning to full operations at all campuses 5 days per week. This is a full student load for our students and families who choose to join us in school learning. Our academic, performing and visual arts and science, our enrichment, athletic, extracurricular, our programming highlights include International Baccalaureate, STEAM, Project Lead the Way, World Languages, Environmental Education, Rec and Ed programs, Science Olympiad, Robotics, Orchestra Night. I could go on with the highlights. There are not diminishments in those programs. They will be fully operational. And of course, we'll be practicing our COVID safe strategies as we move into the fall of 2021. We've been a long way on this COVID journey, and we have learned some innovations and some lessons along the way. So one of the questions I'll be asking during this May of community engagement is, what innovations from this COVID year would you want to see carried forward into the 21-22 school year? We'll be asking that question to receive feedback from our staff and students, our parents and community. But just a few highlights, trustees, of innovations that we intend to carry with us from this time back into our in-school environment to make us stronger and better. One-to-one technology for all of our students. That looks like Chromebooks in grades 2 through 12. Ms. Kellstrom, or Dr. Kellstrom, as Trustee Gaynor shared earlier, there are some things forthcoming for our lower grades. We'll be sharing more about that coming over the coming days of May. Schoology will continue as the AAPS learning ecosystem, so that one-stop shop where parents and students and staff can house all of the support materials for learning. Our connectivity support for families. Trustees, you recall that we are supporting several hundred families in our community who live in areas where connectivity is a challenge. We will continue that support, as well as our 24/7 digital library and academic reading materials. Of course, our libraries inside our schools will be fully open and operational as well. Trustees, you are aware that we've increased our school nursing team over this year to address COVID, and we are going to continue with that larger team of school nurses and other health specialist support as needed. Those are just a few of the innovations that we'll be carrying forward beyond COVID with us, and we'll be sharing more as we move through this month of May. I do want to share an update about the school-age child care program. We have questions about this, and I just want to be clear and very upfront with our community. We have in the past used a large group model for delivering before and after care in our schools. Trustees, you're familiar that this looks like large group of students gathered in the cafeteria or in the gym before and after school. To be COVID safe, that program will need to undergo a redesign. And so during the 21-22 school year, we will be redesigning that program, making it better and in a stronger alignment with our equity and our Rec and Ed mission. And that would include offering enrichment programming after school. We'll be surveying our students and parents and staff to see how best to redesign that program. We will also need to be laser focused on our school day, academics, social emotional supports, mental health supports, social work supports, professional services for our students. Our focus is on those core components of re-engagement, restoration, and renewal for all of our students. We don't speak of it as learning loss because we know our students have been learning this year. And yet, as they return to a full-time in-school environment, there will be a re-engagement. And we perceive that learning leaps will occur, and we're designing that in-school system to support that effort. So we understand that in sharing this evening, that before and after age childcare program will not be a part of our elementary delivery for next year. We understand that that is an adjustment for our families. And so trustees, I appreciate that we're going to go ahead this evening and in this week's information that we share out with all of our families, we'll be making everyone aware of this adjustment so that folks have adequate notice to prepare. It's about 110 days away, this reopening for back to school fall. And we know and we understand that this will be an adjustment for many of our elementary families. Let's talk about elementary school. Back to school fall 2021, neighborhood elementary schools. Our default for what we believe are most students and families will be that in-person, in-school learning 5 days a week, right in the neighborhood school. As we have promised from the beginning, we will continue to offer virtual options for our families. And we're noting for kindergarten through fifth, 2 virtual options. The first one is an A2 online school, kindergarten through fifth, that will be live, synchronous, online instruction 5 days a week. And that will be with a dedicated teacher. That dedicated teacher and that group of students will participate in an online learning community together on a daily basis. And that is the A2 online. Some of our families prefer the asynchronous option. So the A2 virtual elementary, for short, folks call that A2VE. Is the K-5 asynchronous. So students work at their own pace with our quality Ann Arbor Public Schools teachers who support them in meetings weekly and support weekly. Robin Coker is our principal on duty with both the A2 online elementary school and the A2 virtual elementary school. To clarify, trustees, the 2 virtual options will be online district programs. They will not necessarily be tied to any particular elementary school. They will be an online community of learners. For our preschool programming in the fall, and the Ann Arbor Public Schools has the largest preschool program anywhere around. It will be that Westerman and all of our preschool classrooms will return to full operations. Our preschool programs, and we have many of them, they cross over between kind of the Rec and Ed community division and to our K-12 schools division, but our First Steps, our Great Start Readiness, Head Start, our blended preschool classrooms, all of our preschool classrooms will be open for full operations beginning in the fall. This includes Young Fives programming offered in every one of our elementary schools. Trustees, as you know, over the previous 7 years, we have been on a mission to expand and extend our preschool learning, and we're proud of every one of these preschool programs. They will be open. We are taking enrollments now. I do want to note in this update, as we preview next year, that preschool programs will not be offered virtually. That was a step that we took during this kind of COVID crisis year. It is not best practice for preschool age children, so we will not be offering that for the 21-22 school year. Middle school and high school, grades 6 through 12. We feel like most of our students and families will likely choose the 5-day-a-week in neighborhood middle schools, K-8s, high school programs. And we will offer the A2 virtual middle school and high school programs. Trustees, these are not new. We have had them going along for several years, and yet it may be that some students choose to be in those full-time or part-time as a supplemental to their learning. We will offer an inquiry over the coming week as to if there is more demand for synchronous online learning, but at this time we do not have that as a part of our offerings, and yet we will be asking our parents so that we can be sure to understand that demand. Our continued planning for 21-22 school year. I'm sorry, that is a typo. Ms. Osinski will fix that before we post it to the website. 21-22 school year, we will be participating in the coming 3 Thursday sessions tomorrow evening on the 20th and on the 27th. We will be sharing our regular spring student, parent, and staff survey. That's a rather significant survey that we distribute every May. We will also be sharing a survey specifically around parent and student choice for their program for fall of 21. We do understand that some parents, it may be a little early for that, but we are asking for their indications at this time so that we can begin to staff and fully prepare for the 21-22 school year. Then coming up a little bit later in May, there will be the opening of that InfoSnap, which is that online registration system. We do want to remind our parents, and we know that our experienced parents with us are aware, that it is that InfoSnap registration that confirms your seat in the Ann Arbor Public Schools for school year 21-22. So far this spring, we are ahead of pace with our fall 21-22 enrollment. So we want to be sure that we're getting every family pre-registered and give us an early indication on the survey that's coming out, and then also following up with that registration process. We will be updating each week over the coming 4 weeks because we understand that a lot of our families would like to have all of this completed before they wrap up the school year on June 11th. And we would like that also, but we will be working through the summer just to ensure that our families have all of the information that they need. Trustees, you are very familiar with the COVID slides. We have included those this evening because it is our habit and our due diligence. First of all, I do need to share that 32-day decline of cases is where we are now. We are out of the highest risk level on new cases, down now to level D. We are still living with COVID. There is no doubt about that. So we continue to monitor these cases every day. And yet there is good news. Our Huron High School PCR testing clinic will continue on Saturdays. And those tests are the saliva PCR tests. We encourage that for any in our community, our students, our staff, our families who may not yet be vaccinated. It is a great way to monitor our progress as we move through spring. And we will also be continuing with our testing, of course, of our athletes. Now on slide 27, that Thursday, May 20th is a great day. I love seeing our school nurses out there helping and supporting the Washtenaw County Health Department vaccination effort. We've been in close partnership with our Washtenaw County Health team, and they actually are holding these vaccine clinics in all of our communities surrounding Ann Arbor. Our turn is on Thursday, May 20th. We will see, trustees, a few hundred of our students and parents who will be and staff who will be getting their second inoculation on that evening because we had the first clinic 3 weeks ago. But also they will be adding appointments for first vaccinations for 12 to 15-year-olds. So there is a link there to register and also a phone number to call. We will be sharing this information out through all of our channels, including our weekly updates, so that everyone has this information. There's a great deal of excitement around getting our 12 to 15-year-olds. And trustees, this is just a great day for us to look at full operation of our system come August 30th. We are keeping an eye, Trustee Gaynor raised it earlier today, we are keeping an eye on that 6th grade in particular, because we know there may be some 6th graders that aren't old enough to get vaccinated. So we will be talking more about that as we move through these days of May to be sure that we are supporting every student in every grade level. Trustees, this is a very general overview of the 21-22 school year. We will be collecting input and feedback in survey and thought exchange and community meetings, and as always through email. So we look forward to coloring in more detail of our 21-22 school year plan as we move through the weeks of May and prepare for graduation week, that first week of June, and then wrapping up our school year, our traditional school year on June 11th. We understand that this has been a long, hard COVID year for everyone, our parents and our students, certainly our teachers and staff and leaders, and also for this board. It is exciting to talk about opening the 21-22 school year. We will keep our laser focus there while we continue to diligently close out this school year in a quality way. So with that, trustees, we're open and welcome your questions and your discussion. My team is online on this call. We'll be taking careful notes as we continue to fill in the 21-22 school year plan. Thank you, President Johnson.